Welcome to Father Fish and the Natural Aquarium.
Well, I love my little fish as they swim through their home, drifting through the water where the gentle currents roam. When the sunlight finds them, all their colors start to shine, painting little rainbows in this peaceful aquarium of mine. Oh, my heart goes floating as they wander to and from, through the plants and shadows where the sparkling waters flow. In their tiny world, I find a gentle kind of love, a little piece of heaven shining softly from above. To sit and watch my little fish swim as the evening settles and the fading sunlight dim. My heart is full of wonder, peaceful as can be, in their gentle underwater world that's home to them and me.
Well, good evening, friends. It is Tuesday, Chum time. Thought I was thinking about Chum today. It's so aptly named Chum. You know what chumming is. When anybody who fishes knows what chumming is. It's a way to attract fish. You have a bucket full of bait and you take it out and put it on your hook, and then every once in a while you get a few pieces and throw them in the water, and it attracts fish to your hooked bait. And that's what we're doing here. We're chumming, looking for those who might be caught off guard. Ah, glory. I was inspired this evening by this. Some of you know what that is. It's a natural sponge that's found. Well, there's a place in Florida where sponges are collected by old. They've been collected for over 100 years by a fleet of Greek boaters in a little town up above Tampa on the coast. And they go out and they have hooks. They dive down. They used to have big dive bells. Anymore, I think they're just free diving, snorkeling. They go down and they rake up these sponges, bring them back, and set them on the dock. And they're ugly. They're incredibly ugly. They're dirty and they stink. They die because it's a living animal. This is the skeleton of a living animal. Now, when it's dry, it gets really hard. I put it in water just before I came online, and it makes it very soft, but intensely spongy. You can see how it just instantly pops out to its original. And it struck me that there's a metaphor. There's a metaphor here with this sponge, between the sponge and the natural aquarium. But for the life of me, I can't figure out what the metaphor is. So maybe you could help me with that. I know it's there. I know it's important. And I know it's really powerful because sponges are very cool and they're very natural. You could actually use this as a filter. You take the guts off a sponge filter, stick them down in here, and it'll make a phenomenal filter. Probably better than the sponge filters. I don't think that's the analogy. It's not that it's better than synthetic sponge. That if you had, that was funny. Did you blink? We blinked. You know what I need to do? I need to get up. And let me get into the comments here because who was that? Um, Christian saying hi, Lou. Hi, Christian. Hi, Diana Roach. Hi. And that was Sophia Perez is a new member on YouTube. Welcome, Sophia. I'll let you run through real quick here. Diana Roach, Christian, JD, hey JD, Visham Link is here. Karen Naresh is here. Hello, Naresh. Um, it's about, what time is it in Naresh? I think it's like 3 in the morning or something. He's up all night again. Go to bed, Naresh. Oh, who's this? Neil. Oh, Neil C. Vince. Hello, Neil. Hi, Neil. JD. We did that loofah. A loofah is, no, loofah is different. A loofah is actually a vegetable. I raised loofahs once. They're like a gourd. They have these enormous vines. I mean, the vines could run 100 feet. Huge, huge vines, and they have these gourds that grow out on them. Except they're not edible. But when you dry them out, kind of beat the skin off of them, they form a sponge. Similar, but not the same. This is not vegetable. A loofah is a vegetable, it's a plant. This is an animal, different. That curious, agreed, curious, but not the same. Loofah. What's this? Share your refer. Let's see where we're at. Hey, everybody, Neil. Loofah. Hi, Chris. Adam is here. Little spongers are growing on vines. Loofah, right. Loofah grow on vines. That's right. Please sell these. You know what the problem is? They're really expensive. To sell them, I'd have to buy them. I can't collect them locally. I don't think there may be some local sponges. They're a bit of a bother to collect because they're not in shallow water. They're in fairly deep water and 40, 50 feet of water. There may be some here. I don't have a boat, nor do I have the whatever it takes anymore to get down into 40 feet of water and to actually do some collecting. Time was I did that, mind you, but I don't do that anymore. Actually, the last time I did that was in Dominique, and I was in 60 feet of water, and we were collecting coral fish, reef fish. Oh, it was wonderful, just amazing. The the I found so many really fascinating things. One of the things I found was a basket starfish. I'd seen pictures of them, but I'd never seen one live, and I was so excited to get it. I caught it. I brought it back. A basket starfish it's actually a starfish, but it has instead of 5 or 6 tentacles, it has hundreds of tentacles, and it's like a big it's called a basket because they can get about the size of a basket, but So like a basket of wires that are somewhat flexible. But I collected this thing and I took it back and I put it in the tray and it was not filling the whole bucket on the boat. So we had caught fish and I put the fish on top of them. Well, wouldn't you know, by the time we got back to the dock, the fish were all dead because this basket starfish with its hundreds of tentacles would shoot a tentacle up and zap a fish and kill it and eat it. Most of them it just killed, didn't they, meat? But it killed every single fish in there. And they were not swimming near it. They were afraid of it. But it was going zip, it would reach up and then when it got close enough, it would send out a little dart. Starfish. That's not what this is. This is a sponge. Sponges, let me think now if I'm right. Sponges are not dangerous. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that sponges are not dangerous. Now, I dare say there's some kind of sponge on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia that'll kill you in 15 seconds. That's undoubtedly true because most everything does or has something that does. But by and large, as a common experience, sponges are not dangerous. They're rather friendly, actually. I used to see big, huge sponges in the Caribbean. What were they called? Not basket, they were called something else. They were huge, like 5 feet round and real tall and just completely open in the middle. What is that called? I can't remember. Anyway, you could get down in them, and usually there were fish hanging out inside them. Big, huge, some kind of sponge. All sorts of sponges. There's sponges that are long, stringy things. There's sponges that grow in aquariums. Maybe here's the analogy. The analogy is a question. Have you ever had a sponge growing in your aquarium? I have. Have you? Ah, and here's the thing. You will never, never have a sponge growing in an aquarium that is not utterly natural. It can't happen. It won't be there. It ain't there. It ain't real. It ain't going to happen. You need a natural aquarium to grow a sponge. There are freshwater sponges. They're tiny little things. They don't get big like this, but they're pretty cool. And lots of saltwater sponges. So maybe that's the message. If you like sponges the way I like sponges, then you want to have a natural aquarium so you can grow sponges in it. I'm going to put that right there. You can't see it, can you? Where can I put it? Can't see it there. I could cuddle my sponge. What else have we got here? Adam, please sell those. Lake Missoula Aquatics. Hello, hello. I love a filter that looked like that. What is that little town called, Adam? Up above darn, it won't come to me. It's up above Tampa, right on the coast. It's it's Sponge Harbor, the sponge docks of or the sponge boats from somebody say it. You know what it is. Anyway, you go up there and buy them, and you can make a filter out of it really easily. I would kind of like to buy a bunch of them. I think I'll go on Timo and see if I can find sponges. I'll bet you I can. Ah, I'm gonna go Timo sponges. Brenda, look up Timo sponges. See if we can get some natural, real sponges, not the phony kind. We want real, natural sponges. And I bet you we can get them $5 a piece. Of course, they'll probably be nickel size, but oh well. Hello, my fish loving friends. Who is this? Fish I'm Link. Julia, hi. Christian says, hi, Adam. My wife grows love gourds. Yes, they are pretty cool. I did them once, and they took over the garden. I don't know why Australians leave the house. Well, the problem is, even if they do, they can't do anything. I mean, the laws are so, what's the word I want? There's a word, draconian. That's the word, draconian. The laws in Australia are so draconian. You'd probably be afraid to cross the street, much less pick up something, anything, no matter what. Pick up a grain of sand or a dirt ball. I mean, Lord knows you probably go to jail. It's insane. Barrel sponge. Is that what it is? Barrel sponge? It's a good name. If it ain't that, we'll call it that. I think you may be right. Barrel sponge. Yeah, they're real big and real tall. Pretty cool. Sponges. Barrel sponge. It's two people in a row said barrel sponge. Must be right. Chris, who are they? I've got to give them credit. Jennifer Murphy and Greg the Guppy guy both said barrel sponge instantaneously and at the same time. Tarpon Springs. Yes, David. David Bowman got it. It's Tarpon Springs. Adam, go up to Tarpon Springs and get a bag of sponges and send them to me. And we'll sell sponges. I'll pay you for them, whatever it costs you. That would be fun. They're not colorful like this, though. They're kind of brown and ugly. I think this might have been bleached. I'm not sure about that, but I kind of guessed it might be bleached. It's dark on the inside. See there? See how dark that is? This is so cool. And it's been cut. They ain't like that normally. It's been cut flat so it sits up like so. How did I get this? Somebody brought this in. It came, oh, I know what it was. I had this call from a fellow who said his wife died recently and she was a high school biologist. And she had all kinds of things. And he was getting rid of all his things, all of her things, because he didn't know how to take care of them. She had birds and dogs, and she had elephants. She didn't have elephants. She had reptiles, a few. She had something else. Oh, orchids. She had a lot of orchids, and apparently a substantial collection, over 100 orchids, some of which were very rare. She called it was in Delaware, called the Delaware Orchid Society, and they came and they were just over the moon to get this collection and divvied them out to all their members. So that was pretty nice. But he had a few tanks, little tanks mostly. And this sponge was in one of the tanks. She had it set up for hermit crabs. So she had this sponge for a hermit crab tank, which is pretty cool. Oh, she used to raise, he told me, she would go out to Lewes, Delaware. Now, if you know anything about Lewes, Delaware, it's on the beach right near New Jersey, in Delaware, just before you get into New Jersey. And in the spring, horseshoe crabs, big ones, big horseshoe crabs, come up to the beach by the thousands, probably tens of thousands, and lay eggs. Why they lay eggs on the beach, I couldn't begin to tell you, because they all rot and die and stink. But that's what they do. They lay this huge mound of eggs, miles of eggs. Nobody ever harvests them. You'd think they'd be caviar. I don't know. Anyway, that's not where this came from. Oh, yes, it sort of is. She would collect eggs I guess, that were in the water, and bring them back and hatch them out and grow these little horseshoe crabs up until they were about an inch long, and then take them up to acid dig and release. And that was her thing. She did that every year. Took her 3 or 4 months to get them up to size. Now, when I was a kid, I collected horseshoe crabs in Cox Neck Creek in on the eastern shore of Maryland, off the Chesapeake Bay. So it ain't like they're only in special places. Horseshoe crabs are everywhere. It's like seahorses. Wherever there is salt water, pretty much there are seahorses. The Chesapeake Bay is full of seahorses. You never hear about them or see them because they stay pretty deep, but they're coming up now in crab pots. The crabbermen, who no longer use lines to catch their crabs, they all use pots now. They got this from New England. Terrible, terrible habit. They dump these wire pots down and they catch crabs and haul them up. And seahorses attach themselves by their tails to the wire on these things. They haven't got sense enough to let go. And so they come all the way up, come out of the water, and they plop them on the deck, and the seahorses fall off. And they catch them and they keep them, and most of them kill them. But I'm going to try to contact some crabbermen and start paying like good money, whatever that is, for live seahorses. They have to keep them alive and get them to me. We're going to start doing seahorses. Anyway, that's the other thing. I'm going to do. I finally this week, somebody came in to make a mistake. They bought a really nice 3-foot wide, 40-gallon acrylic tank. Now, if you know anything about acrylic tanks, number one, they're expensive. Number two, they scratch easy. But number three, and more importantly, they are not reflective. See the reflection up here? You don't get that with acrylic. It's like, if it's clean and clear, it's like you're looking at water. It's water. It's invisible. You only see the water. You don't see the glass. With glass tanks, you see the glass, more or less. I mean, you can, if it's really clean, you can kind of see through it, and it's pretty clear. And if it's like Starfire glass, it'll be super duper clear. But acrylic is on another level. Acrylic is a liquid, so it's like water. It's perfectly clear. There are no little tiny things in it that make it look like it's there. It's beautiful stuff, but it does scratch easy. So, but it does polish out too, pretty easy. So anyway, I got one, and the only good thing to do with an acrylic tank is to keep saltwater fish in it. And there are a whole lot of reasons for that. Number one, the best reason for that is that if you put coral in it, it scratches the surface real easy. And sand scratches, everything scratches it. Crabs crawling up and down it, scratch it. But it works really well for keeping salt water. For no particularly good reason. It's just sort of a thing. I think it probably has to do with the fact that you can make it whatever shape and size you want, because they're all manufactured by guys who get big sheets of acrylic. I got 2 big sheets of acrylic right here. They're 4-foot by 8-foot sheets, and they're a little beat up, but with a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. I mean, really a lot of work. You could polish them up. Somebody could, and make them so they were crystal clear, and then cut them, which is always a good trick because cutting plastic is tricky. And then you have to clean the cut, and then it has to be a perfect cut, because you're going to cement it to another piece of plastic. Now, this cement actually dissolves it. So it creates a bond that's like melt, stick together, get hard, and it's one solid piece then. Very tricky stuff to use. I've done it, not successfully altogether, but you know, I've done a lot of things not altogether successfully. A few things I've done altogether successfully, um, but we won't go into that right now. So I'm going to do an acrylic saltwater tank. And what I'm going to do, my promise to everybody has been, this is going to be a natural saltwater tank. Natural. I have a natural brackish tank right now that I've had set up. It's a 40-gallon breeder. Had it set up for, I don't know, as long as we've been here, a couple of years at least. I don't know how long we've been here. 5 years, 10 years. I lose track of time. I think it's been 2.5 years, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, I'm going to go out to the ocean or as close as I can get to it with buckets, and I'm going to collect a bucket of, I'm going to go out in the water and collect a bucket of sand. I will need help because I can't carry a bucket of sand. With the water in it and the sand, that's pushing 100 pounds. Well, it ain't that much, but it's a lot. It's heavy. It's too heavy for me. So I'm going to take some strong young dude. We'll probably do this when Matthew is back, this fall maybe. Going to get that, and then I'm going to fill up my my. I've got a big round tub. It's a bait bucket, but it's a big round bait bucket with a motor on one side, a 12-volt motor that pumps the water and circulates it, and it's round. It's really cool. I found it on the side of a road in Florida 20 years ago, and it's one of my prized possessions. Blew off somebody's boat right into my car. It was pretty cool. So I got that. I'm going to fill it with water and bring it back. We're going to put the sand in and put the water in, and then we're going to collect stuff. Well, today I had a breakthrough. And the breakthrough was we've come to the point where I need a bookkeeper. And there's been a bookkeeping service that I've kind of had my eye on for a while now. And I finally was running errands and I pulled up and called the number written on the door. And a woman answered, and we talked for a little while. And we agreed she was going to send me some material. I said, "Oh well, I'm sitting right outside your store, your office right now." She said, "Well, I'm here. I don't have the light on, but the door's open." So I walked in, met this wonderful lady who she and her husband own property on the water, and this property they own on the water is a creek, and she showed me pictures of it, and I'm dying to get there because it's full of grass. It's going to be a perfect collecting place. And I'll be able to get some of the things that I've been wanting to collect for this saltwater tank I'm setting up. But it's going to also house coral reef fish like gobies and clowns and other full saltwater stuff. I'm not going to do big expensive things. I'm going to do little cheap things that are still a whole lot more expensive than any of the fish I'm doing here. But anyway, we're going to do this. So I got to figure out where and how, because once I get started with this, one tank won't do. It'll require more than that. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do this, where I'm going to do this, and whether I really am losing my mind by even making an effort to do this. Because number one, I'm out of space, except that I could get rid of the pond and put a double row of tanks right down the middle of this room. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This room right here. I have this pond right here. There it is. Let me show you what is in the pond. I think I showed you this last week, didn't I? I believe I did. In this pond are, oh, if I can stand up. Oh, almost can't stand up anymore. I don't know if you can see that. We can get closer. I have two koi. They're 25-year-old koi. They're about 3 feet long. They came out of a pond that some friends of mine have who are getting too old to take care of them. So they're trying to figure out what to do with them. And I think we set up a way to donate them. I managed to get two to bring back and put in the pond here to see how they do. And they're doing pretty good. That guy's obviously a little stressed. He's hanging out, breathing by the water, but this one looks okay. They pumped one out today, and we're probably not getting enough. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 bubblers. There's one not working. I'll have to get that one working. Anyway, if we put that pump in that pond in the back, which I think we can do, then I can make 2 rows of tanks there, and then figure out how to get electric to it. That'll be the real trick, because I have to get an electrician in to run a circuit to it, because I'm pretty well maxed out with my current circuits. But if we do all that, and then do acrylic saltwater tanks right in the middle of the store, that would be dramatic. One more thing to lose my mind over. Jeez, why do I do all this stuff? So anyway, meanwhile, I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I am in, I've been having a lot of trouble lately with AFib. Turns out I got a new pacemaker last fall. Wonderful pacemaker. I love this pacemaker. I had one for about 10 years that got replaced with this new one last fall. And that one, it triggered one side of my heart. It went thump, 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 thump with little tiny electric shocks and just kept it going. But the other side of my heart just got weaker and weaker to the point where it was hardly doing anything. It was down to about 20%. And that got me in the hospital. And they put this new pacemaker in that triggers both sides. And now this one that was 20% is up to about 80 to 90%. So it's really kind of come on strong. That was in October. Come February, I hit January, and finally, after 2 years of struggling with this, I got down to a target weight of 200 pounds. I have been at 260, got down to 200 pounds, really excited. Went through January feeling great, feeling really good. Got into February, and all of a sudden, I started putting weight on 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. And then over the next 5 months until about June, well, now I put on 30 pounds. What I didn't know that I found out 2 weeks ago was I started in AFib in February, and they knew I was in AFib, and nobody said anything about it. It wasn't until I went in to get the thing checked in June that they said, oh, well, yeah, hey, you're in persistent AFib, have been since February. So why didn't they tell me? They knew. This thing reports to them every week. They knew I was in AFib. They never said a word. And I put on 30 pounds, and now my heart blood pressure, 2 weeks ago I was in the hospital because it was 220 over 140. and they got me on a new med and got it back down. But it ain't normal. Right now, I wake up, it's 170 over 100. During the day with the meds, it'll get down to about 150 over 80. It ain't right. And it's the aphid that's doing it. And they put me off. They were going to have me wait another couple of months before I saw anybody about that. So I finally called up and bitched about it and said I was pretty sure I was going to not survive the rest of the month. So they're getting me in to see a nurse tomorrow, a nurse practitioner who presumably has the authority to talk to the doctor and get a procedure done. So we'll see how all that goes. But I'm looking for an ablation because I think I'm at a point where I've tried everything else and that's next on the list. So we'll see how all this goes down. But hopefully I'm going to get relief from this and be able to get all this water weight off of me and start feeling decent again. I'm having trouble walking. Both of my knees are in pain with every step I take, which means I'm in danger of falling over. So I'm real upset about all this stuff and hoping I can get some relief tomorrow. I'm getting right wrothy about it too, I'll tell you. Anyway. Peachamon, you got me into this hobby. Why can't I read that? All right. Let's get some more comments here. A whole lot more interesting than my gibberish. Let's see. Here it is, Peachamon. You got me into this hobby. Your expertise is amazing. Thank you for everything you do. Well, thank you so much. That's very kind. Adam says it's ironic because when it was an island where the Brits dumped all their criminals and now it's a police state. Yeah, ain't that right? Ain't that right? Talking about policy. Do you buy the Aqueon tank? I buy whatever's cheap. I can buy the big box store tanks when they go on sale. They're cheaper than the wholesaler, than the wholesale price. I can buy them cheaper on sale at PetSmart than I can from the wholesaler. So that's how I buy tanks. I don't sell a lot of tanks. I sell a few. Don't sell many tanks. I sell more used tanks. They're frankly easier to get. Although I don't have near as many as I thought I would. I thought a lot more would be coming in. I think every tank I've got here, I think every single tank in here, with one or two exceptions, or new tanks that I bought for the shop to build in. They're not used tanks that I acquired. A part of the problem is that there are a couple of guys in the area that are just out prowling for tanks all the time. So the competition is a little fierce. And I'm not set up to drive an hour and a half to pick up a 20-gallon tank. So there's that as well. And the price is pretty high. When I was in Florida, a lot of tanks came in that I was able to get free to cheap. And that hardly is the case here. Has happened. I've had a few people bring things in that I've been able to get for a really good price. And that's been very nice, but not really as much as I thought there might be. Anyway, I don't know why I got into that. Tanks. Somebody asked about the tanks. I do buy Aqueon. Gonna try to find a 20 long. I'll tell you what you ought to get instead of a 20 long, get a 29. It's the same footprint as a 20 long, but it's about 8 inches taller, 6 to 8 inches. I can't remember. I think oh, it's probably 6 inches taller. It's just a much nicer tank to work with. You'll enjoy it a lot more. I've got 20. There's a 20. Give you an idea. There's a 20 right on the bottom. Where have we got a 29? Probably don't. Up there, those are 29s, those empty tanks. That probably doesn't give you much of an idea, but they're about the same height as that 75, 2 inches shorter, actually. Same height as that 65 or 55. Actually, they're taller than that. The 29 is a nice tall tank, and it's exactly the same base as a 20 long. So it's not going to take up more space. And you'll be a lot happier with it. What's next here? We just set up my son's betta tank using your method. Can't wait for it to start thriving. Oh, it already is. You just don't know it yet. It already is. Don't forget to hit the link. Aquafunk is here. Aquafunk is here. You've been doing some really cool stuff lately. I've been catching all your vids. In fact, I commented on one. You were talking about something. Can't even remember what it was. And I blasted a comment that said something to the effect that Father Fish has all the answers. So I don't know what I said, but it was you. I almost expected you to mention Father Fish. You didn't, or at least not while I was watching. But just really cool vids you're doing, Aquafun. I really enjoy them. It's a lot of fun. And thanks for stopping in. Aside from being not as heavy, I don't like acrylic. It is lighter. Acrylic is a whole lot more difficult to deal with because it scratches. It scratches very. You can scratch it with your tongue. I mean, you scratch it with your fingernail. It's soft and it's very easy to scratch. Anything that you can't use anything metal to clean. You have to be super careful about that. Anything that's really abrasive is going to scratch it. It's a real bother to work with. Maybe that's why I like it. I don't know. My cylinder is acrylic. All he said is true. Oh, PM, yeah, I know. Can I use dirt from my plants in this aquarium? Dirt from your plants. No, do not use dirt from your plants. If by that you mean emptying a planted pot, a potted plant, emptying a potted plant and putting the dirt in, don't do that. You're putting depleted soil in if you do that. If you want to go out to your garden and you have a nice, loamy, rich garden, by all means do that. But before you use it, mix a bunch of leaves in with it. If you do just that, you'll be improving the quality of it 100%. Mix a bunch of leaves in with it. They can be dried leaves, it's fine, doesn't matter. And then if you got a little bit of compost, coffee grinds, anything like that, mix all that stuff in with it. Lay it down at 1 inch deep and then put 2 inches of sand on top of it. The 2 inches sand is real critical. The other thing that's real critical is to make sure that dirt is flat, dead level. I had somebody set up a tank here in my shop. Somebody new who I thought I decided to let them go and see what they did, and they totally botched it. They did not put the dirt in level. They just kind of dumped it in and threw sand on top, and it looks dreadful. and it's leaking dirt already, and it's a total disaster. So they're going to have to redo it. And then they're going to have to get the lesson, which is we're not here to show people how much you like fish and to talk about all the fish you have. That's not what we're here to do. What we're here to do is to teach people the system that we are teaching. And if you don't know what that is, and you clearly don't, you need to learn it. You need to watch videos every single day until you've watched at least 500. We have 2,000. So you ain't never going to watch them all. Don't tell me you've watched it all. If you tell me that, I know you've watched two or three. That is to say, you don't know how many we have. There are 2,000 videos, actually more than that. And a lot of them, about 1,000, are at least an hour, and many of them 2 hours long. So you could watch videos all day, every day for a year and not be able to watch every video we have. That's if you sleep and eat. If you sleep and eat. If you just watch 8 hours a day, you won't get through them in a year. So don't tell me you watched all my videos. Nobody, including myself, have watched all my videos, with the possible exception of Naresh. Naresh might well have watched all the videos. Naresh is amazing, just flat out amazing. I met him when he sent me a video at, I think it was 16 at the time. This kid in Sri Lanka, if you don't know where that is, it's near India. It's on the southeast coast, off the southeast coast of India, out in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Beautiful island. They raise guppies there. Ooh, they raise some of the best guppies in the world in Sri Lanka. Anyway, he sent me this video years ago, and it was absolutely brilliant. It just blew my mind. It's still available. We can play it. I think I get a claim on it every time I play it because he used some popular tune for it. But it depicts all kinds of views of the old shop, and it's just absolutely wonderful. It kind of, I get nostalgic every time I watch it because it's so wonderful. But he spent hours and hours and hours watching videos and pulling clips to be able to make that. And he's still with us. He's on board. He's in college now, studying. I don't know what he's studying. I think he's studying electronics. I'm pretty sure it's computer based. Smart as a whip, clever, does really, really cool stuff. He's posting videos for us now and kind of deeply involved. He's going to be more and more deeply involved as things move along here because I'm trying to transition and trying to figure out how to do that in a way that's going to make it practical and give people something to do and something to kind of hold on to and build on. But I think we're going to be okay. I think it's going to happen. All right, where are we at here? Can I use dirt for my plants in Ukraine? Was that an adequate answer to that? Joined a channel member, Bambi Squirrelwood. Derelict of duties. Yeah, well, sort of, yeah. Prayers for good health. Thank you, Adam. Dave Dog, how much of the resurrection jar should be added to a new tank just started? Very good question. And it's something that you need to understand. Don't dump the whole thing on. Put in small portions at a time. And make sure you put some dry leaves in there because that's the food that the infusoria needs. That all those microscopic animals that are in the resurrection jar, they feed on those leaves. So you need to also be putting leaves in. But don't dump a whole lot in all at once. You could easily overwhelm the biology of a new tank and create an event. So small amounts at a time, but do it consistently. You can do it once a week. It's a good rule of thumb. Once a week, little handful and a couple leaves every week. do that routinely, and it will build up a magnificent food web in a couple of months. Won't take real long to do it, and you'll love it. It'll be wonderful. So, like everything else, just go slow. Aquarium and Marine Land, made in USA. Aquion, right, and Marine Land. Both great systems, great companies, great tanks. I've used plenty of both of them. At one time I had 30-20 longs. Got rid of them. I agree 29's better. I almost prefer a 20 tall to a 20 long. I mean, there are benefits to it. I tell you, I have a 60 long, which is shorter than a 75, but I really like it for certain kinds of fish. I have gobies in it, a lot of different kinds of gobies. And it's really wonderful because they're a bottom fish. They don't really come up in the column very much. So they're always on the bottom. And with a shorter tank, you're not seeing all that empty space, which you'd have to put some other kinds of fish in. So it works real well. I think a tank about 8 inches tall and 20 feet long would be fabulous if it were deep enough. I had two tanks in my old shop that were 4 foot by 8 foot and about 12 inches tall. They used the coral tanks. They were saltwater coral tanks. They were wonderful. They were just amazing. I could keep all kinds of things in them. And they were really, really effective tanks. I wish they had been a couple of inches taller, though, because they were too narrow to really be able to see in very well. I had to have 4 inches of sand in there, which left only about 4 inches of viewing. So that was a bit problematic. But short tanks have they have their place. They certainly do. Bought my Aquayan 40, just about to add water. Noticed a fractured crack at top. Would you suggest you in a tree? Yeah, absolutely. Trade it out. Mainly because you can. A crack at the top running from the top to the side is not going to create a problem. You can keep the water level below it. You can fix it. You can patch it easily. There's no water pressure at that level. And it's not likely to worsen. So it's not really a problem keeping a fish in the tank like that. Now, if the crack is at the bottom, it's a totally different matter. A crack at the bottom and you're done. You don't want to use the tank, particularly if it's anything like a tall tank, because you'll never get it to stop leaking. It's too much pressure. But if it's new and you can get it replaced, by all means do it. Someone needs to read the book. Amen to that. Like knows someone that's seen them all. What are you talking about, Craig? I don't know what you're talking about. Band B. David Olga, thank you. Band B, I had a tank. I thought it was cracked one time. Turned out to be a thin line of silicone. I am here to tell you stories about that. Absolutely true. I turned in a tank once. It was a big one. It was a 125. And I looked at that sucker and it had a crack in it. Brand new tank. Had them pick it up and take it back. Went to the warehouse later. They had it sitting on the side. And I looked at it again. It wasn't cracked. It was a thin line of silicone that had fallen out there when they put it together and nobody noticed it. And it looked for all the world like a crack. You can't see under it or through it. I mean, it looks like a crack. Darndest thing. I should have offered to buy it back cheap. They'd have probably sold it to me. I thought was, yeah, that's too true. A bottom's cracked. Oh, honey, everybody's bottom's cracked. It's okay. It's nothing to worry about. You'll get through it. All your veds. Oh, right. True. All right. With that, we're running out of gas here. It's been a fun hour spending with you. Joy to my friends. The precious few who remain. We're down to 14. I think I'm running out of gas. Need to do something new. Don't. My problem is I don't know what to do. I need to get into the book and do the. I'm going to do a series of videos on the book. I think that's really what I need to do. Just dig into that and start doing it. That'll give me an agenda, and it'll be something that people will appreciate, and it'll help promote the book. Which, God knows, we need to promote the book. Anyway, how about a song? Can we do a song? We want to do a song? What kind of song you want to do? We got, what do we got? We've got this Looney Tunes song here that I played it a couple of times. Where is it? There it is. Don't you love it?
I love my little fishy as they swim
They
about
swim
their
about their
home.
home.
When the sunlight shines upon
Shines
them
upon
and their
them,
colors
and their
begin
colors
to glow
begin to
bright
glow.
and draw me to the
To a
world
world where the
heart
heart
wants
longs to go.
I
I
imagine
like
scenes
my
of
little
beauty and
and
feel the
they
warmth
feel the
of
warmth of
love.
it. I didn't know the words.
I
Love my little
fishy as they
fishies as they swim
about
about
their
their
home.
home.
Their fins
Oh,
flashing, scales are gleaming, silent stories
I love
gently
birds.
streaming. In their
Aha.
water world so serene,
so serene.
a peaceful heaven, a tranquil scene.
A scene.
I imagine scenes of beauty and feel the
And feel the
warmth
warmth
of
of
love.
love.
I love my little fishy
Little
as they
fishies as
swim
they swim
about their
about
home.
their home. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Little bubbles rising slow, a gentle current to and from. My heart finds solace in their grace, a smile upon my weary face. I imagine scenes of beauty and feel the warmth of love. I love my little fishy as they swim about their home. Swim on, my little fishy, swim on your beauty
Swim on.
bright
Till
until the
the dawn. That's the sun coming up. Bye all. Love you all. Love you all. Bye for now.